Wholesaling versus wholetailing. You probably have heard these terms, but you probably are not sure what they exactly mean and what the difference even is. In today's video, I'm gonna explain what a wholetail deal is and why it's sometimes a better option than a wholesale. And if you are new to the channel, my name's Justin, you're wrong. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur here in Las Vegas. I've made hundreds of videos teaching people about real estate, and the goal of this channel is to help you grow your money and mindset. Also, if you want to see more personal content, follow me on Instagram at Justin, you're wrong. Okay, so first I want to start off explaining what wholesaling even is. So all wholesaling really is, it's a strategy that people can use in real estate to make money. It's kind of similar to flipping, but not super similar. And it's essentially, instead of flipping a house, so instead of buying a house and flipping the house, you are simply making an offer on a house, getting that offer accepted by the seller, so you have a contract that is fully signed by you and the seller, and you are flipping the contract to someone else who's gonna buy the home. And you're not gonna buy the home yourself as a wholesaler, but you can still make a profit. And here's how it works, just so you can get an idea of how everything really works. So let's say I was trying to wholesale a deal. First thing I'd do, I'd be trying to look for a home. So looking for a seller that actually wants to sell their home at a discount. And it's kind of like the same process of buying a house flip. You're trying to find a home at a very big discount so you can make a profit on it, but you're not buying it yourself. So let's say I'm searching for a deal, searching for a home to buy, finally find a seller, and maybe the home's real value, I'll just say value very loosely just so you get an idea, but the home's real value is $300,000. Then you make an offer of $150,000 to that seller, which is half of the actual value. And I'm using very random numbers just so you get the perspective. So home values were $300,000. You offer $150,000 to this seller, and from there the seller accepts your offer. Great, now you have a signed contract by both you and the seller. At the beginning, you're acting like the buyer. So you make an offer, acting like the buyer essentially. You get the signed contract from you and the seller. So now with that contract, you're gonna find another real estate investor or a buyer who wants to buy that home for more than what you got it locked up for. And when I say locked up, I'm essentially saying when you get an accepted offer. Once you get an accepted offer, you have the contract, that's when you can start looking for your other buyers to see who wants to buy this thing. And here's how it works. Let's say you get that thing locked up, accepted offer of $150,000. Then you're gonna go to your network of other real estate investors in your area or people who wanna buy homes in your area, and you bring the contract to them. Well, not necessarily, but you're essentially saying, hey, I have this home under contract. I'm looking to wholesale it, and I'm asking a price of $170,000. You have it locked up for $150,000. Your asking price to these other buyers are $170,000, meaning that difference of the $20,000 between $170K and $150K, that is what you're gonna be making as the wholesaler. If you can find a buyer that's willing to pay $170,000 for this home, which they should if the home's real value was worth $300,000, then you as the wholesaler can make an assignment fee of $20K. And all an assignment fee is, it's the difference. So it's your fee as a wholesaler that you earn for finding the deal. So you can get really good at just finding deals and then selling the contracts to these buyers who actually have the money to buy them. And you can make money that way in real estate. So you don't actually need to buy the homes yourself. A lot of people, when they get started in real estate investing or wholesaling, they think you need a lot of money because they think you need all this money to buy all these homes, but really you can just wholesale. Or even if you wanted to buy homes, you can use other people's money. That's wholesaling in a very quick nutshell. And now that you understand what wholesaling is, I want to explain wholetailing. It's a little bit different than wholesaling, but the concept is very similar. Let's go back to that example of wholesaling that deal. Let's say you make your offer of $150,000 to the seller, they accept your offer. Great, now you have your accepted offer of $150,000. So traditionally with wholesaling, like I said before, you're selling the contract to another buyer. With wholetailing specifically, you're actually gonna be the buyer. So you're gonna buy the property yourself, whether it's with your own money, whether you raise money for it, whether you get a loan for it, whatever it is, you're gonna be the one to buy the property yourself. And then right when you buy it, as soon as the home closes, so once you finish escrow is essentially the time period that takes for when you get a home under contract to when you actually buy the home. So once escrow finishes, and once you buy the home, you immediately resell it to another buyer. That's wholetailing. And you might have to do very, very, very little fixes to the home, but for the most part, you wanna be able to buy a home, like fully buy it, and then resell it right away to another investor who's gonna be the one to flip it. Your end buyer is the same kind of person. They're both the investor who wants to make money on the home. You have to make sure you're actually getting these homes at a big discount, just like with wholesaling. Wholetailing and wholesaling are very similar. The only difference is with wholetailing, you're actually buying the home. With wholesaling, you don't have to buy the home. So those are the concepts of wholesaling and wholetailing in a nutshell. But you might be thinking, okay, now that I know what it is, how do I get someone to sell me a home at a massive discount? Like, why would someone even sell a home at a massive discount? And the truth is, people will sell homes at a discount if they need to sell. So whether you're wholesaling or wholetailing or even just flipping houses, you have to be able to understand that when you talk to these sellers, they have to have a need to sell. They can't just want to sell because, they can make a couple extra $100,000. Like, they need to sell because that's your ideal clientele. If you find the person who really needs to sell, they'll be willing to sell it at a discount. And when I say need to sell, think of it like this. Let's say someone's parent just died, or parents, and they just inherited the property. They're the kids to the parents who own the property. They inherited this property. They have so much emotions with this particular home. Maybe it's the home they grew up in, and they can't even think about it. Like, they just want to get it off their hands. It's an emergency because for them, that house has a big weight on them, so they just need to sell it right away. They don't even care if they sell it at a discount. That could be some type of emergency or a reason for a seller to sell a home at a discount. Another reason could be tax delinquency. So let's say a seller, at least in my market, I don't know a lot of other markets, but in my market, Fresno, California, if you don't pay your taxes, your property taxes in the past 5 years, or you miss tax payments or whatever, so it's been 5 years, then the tax collector will come and take the home from you. Now imagine the person in this situation, the homeowner, who is at 4 years and 9 months in, and if they go 3 extra more months, the tax collector will take their home from them. And the tax collector lets you know, so they're sending the mail every month, every week, like, hey, we're selling home, we're taking the home, like, pay your taxes. If they're in that situation, don't you think that they have a big incentive to sell their home to get profits out of it rather than just taking a massive loss and having their home taken from them? Of course, they're gonna sell their home at a discount because they just need to sell it fast. They don't care about getting the highest price. They just need to sell it because it's a win for them. Those are a couple situations where, I guess, emergencies for the seller. We call that distress. When the seller or the home is distressed, it's when they need to sell, essentially. At least that's how I think of it. I'm sure there's a better definition of distress, but that's how I think of it. Now, there are a couple situations where I think it's a better idea to wholetail than wholesale. A lot of the times I think it's ideal for someone just starting out to try to wholesale because they have less skin in the game. They don't have to actually buy the property. And if they're just trying to make money as fast as humanly possible, I think wholesale is a great route. But there are certain scenarios where you might have to wholesale a deal, or it's more beneficial to you to wholesale the deal. One of those situations is, let's say if you were working for homes on market. So you're looking for these homes on the MLS, the multiple listing service where all the homes are listed by realtors. So that's the market. So that's what I say, when I say on market, I'm talking about homes on the MLS. So let's say you're looking for homes on market, on the MLS, and you're speaking to all these realtors. And you talk to a realtor, you're making these offers with these realtors, and one of them accepts your offer, wants to accept your offer. You have to be upfront with these people. If you plan to wholesale the deal and that's your intention, you gotta tell the realtor. So tell the realtor, like, hey, my intention's to wholesale the deal, I'm still reliable, I'll make sure this gets closed right away, but I have a partner or an end buyer who's gonna be the one buying it. Now, some realtors and some brokerages do not allow this for whatever reason. It's not necessarily because it's like a bad thing to do, but some brokers, like real estate brokerages, are just not comfortable with it. Before even getting that thing under contract, before getting an accepted offer or making an offer, I would recommend for you, if you are planning to wholesale the deal and that's your only strategy, I definitely recommend for you to ask the realtor if they are okay with doing assignments or wholesales. Because if not, it might be a little bit hard to wholesale the deal, and it might have to be you to wholesale the deal where you actually buy it. Now that's why I say that, because those brokers who don't want you to wholesale, they'd rather you just buy it yourself and then resell it after. So in those kind of situations, it's better to wholesale, and I've done that plenty of times because of that exact scenario. So I'll ask the realtor, like, hey, I might be wholesaling this. Is your broker, are you comfortable with that? Like, do you know how it works? I can teach you. And oftentimes they're willing to learn, but sometimes they're like, hey, let me take it to my manager or my broker, and the broker will be the one to say, no, like, we don't do this. Another situation where it might be beneficial for you to wholesale a deal versus wholesale is if you have a strong end buyer at the very end who will only buy it if you actually own the property. These are the companies usually known as iBuyers. So these are the companies like Zillow and Opendoor who will literally buy the home from you, and they're massive companies, they're massive real estate companies who don't mind buying at higher prices because I'm sure they have better data and they know what they want to buy. If you have one of those buyers lined up And often a lot of them won't actually buy the home unless you own it yourself. So if you're trying to assign it to them, they won't do it. So you'll have to actually buy the home yourself and then resell it to them. And here's why you might do that. So for example, let's say you have that home locked up, a deal locked up at $150,000. So you made an offer, seller accepted your offer of $150,000. You then, the best you can do when you look for these cash buyers, you might find a cash buyer that can buy it for $170,000. And you might think, oh, that's already pretty great. Like, you make $20,000 in an assignment fee. You don't have to actually buy it yourself. Like, great option. But then let's say, what if an iBuyer comes in, like Zillow? What if Zillow comes in, or they don't come in, you have to ask them. So you have to ask them to see what they're gonna pay for the home or what they're gonna offer. And what if they tell you that for that $150,000 deal you have, what if they tell you they're gonna pay $200,000 for the home, but you have to be the owner? Don't you think it would be better to find a way to buy the deal and resell it to them so that you can get 30K more than that end buyer when you're trying to wholesale? So you have these two options. You can either wholesale it to your end buyer so you can kind of stay away from buying the property and getting the 20K assignment fee, or you can buy the home yourself, find a way, get transactional funding from a friend or a lender or whatever to actually buy the home and then resell it to Zillow for $200,000 to get 50K total. So would you rather get 50K or would you rather get about 20K? So like, you know, you have to kind of weigh the differences. In those situations, I personally think it's better to wholesale, especially because you don't have to actually like fix up the property. Like those are the best deals. So those are the two situations that top of my mind where I think it's better to wholesale a deal. But I hope you understand both wholesaling and wholetailing now. And also, if you want help to grow your real estate business, whether you're brand new, if you already got deals on your belt, DM me the word coach on Instagram at JustinYou'reWrong. Peace.